Hey class, today we are going to be learning about exponents. Some of you may remember that this is on our math board. It says to write things in exponential form. We've kind of discussed that the root word of exponential is exponents. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. These are the notes that you taped into your notebook today. They are called doodle notes. So what's different about doodle notes? They're made so that you can doodle on them. So you could make some little polka dots here, make some stripes, whatever you wanted to do, but you don't have to. You can do whatever you want. So we're going to go ahead and talk about exponents. So we're going to read into this, and it says that when you first learned multiplication, you probably represented multiplication as using repeated addition in groups. So, what that means is your teacher might have written 4 times 3 is the same thing as 4 plus 4 plus 4. But 4 times 3 is a little bit easier to do than having to do all of that addition. Well, the same thing goes for multiplication. So that's why mathematicians came up with exponents. Basic exponent operations can be represented by repeated multiplication. So we're going to write that in here. Multiplication. So let's come down here. 4 to the third means the same thing. This, when I say 4 to the third, I mean 4 with a little exponent of 3. This little 3 tells me that I could rewrite that as a multiplication problem. So I could put 4 times 4 times 4 3 times. That 3 times comes from the exponent 3. So if I do 4 times 4, I get an answer of 16 times 4 again, and 16 times 4 gives me 64. So if I had the problem 4 to the third, and I wanted to evaluate or solve that, my answer would be 64. So let's go down here, and it says 1 to the fifth. That's how we read that. 1 to the fifth power tells me that I would do 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. So I have 1 5 times. So if I wanted to evaluate that, I would have to do 1 times 1, which is 1, times another 1, which is still 1, times another 1, still 1, times another 1. So my answer, 1 to the fifth, if I evaluated that, is 1. So 3 to the second, or this could also be said as 3 squared. So it could be 3 to the second power, or 3 squared. And as repeated multiplication, that means to take 3 times itself. 3 times, 2 times, and 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 to the second power is 9. Okay, so let's come over here and just talk about this. All of this combined, this means b multiplied by itself. This means b multiplied by itself n times. So the b is called the base. So that big number, that is called the base. So we're going to write that in there. It is a base. It is the number being multiplied. Repeatedly. Then, the n in this case is representing the exponent. So we're going to fill this, and this is the exponent. It is the number, I'm going to use the pound sign for number, of times the base is being multiplied. So, this means that b is being multiplied by itself n times. Okay? When we say an exponent out loud, we call a number with a power of 2 squared. And if it has a power of 3, we call it cubed. Okay, so now we're going to come down here and we are going to try some problems. And when we try them, we are going to write them out as a multiplication problem and then do the multiplication. So, first of all, if I were to say this, I would say 2 to the 5th power. And that tells me that my math problem is going to be to take 2, which is the base, times itself 5 times. So the base is 2, the exponent is 5, so I take 2 5 times. So 2 times 2 is 4, and then so 4 times 2 is 8, and then 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. So the answer, 2 to the 5th power, means 32. Now, number 2. 5 to the 3rd power. That means to take 5 and repeatedly multiply it 3 times. So 5 times 5 times 5. So then to solve that, I do 5 times 5 is 25. Times 5 again is 125. So 5 to the 3rd is exponential form, and the standard form of that is 125. Number 3, 10 to the 3rd power. That means to take 10 times itself 3 times. So 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, and 100 times 10 is 1,000. So 10 to the 3rd, or 10 cubed, is 1,000. Okay, so now I'm going to have you try these, and then we'll go over the answers. 12 to the 1st power means to do 12 times itself, well, just once. I only have 1 12, so that would be my answer. 10 to the 5th means to take 10 times itself 5 times. So when I do 10 times 10, I get 100. So what I really did is I kind of collected those zeros and put them together. So now I've got another one. So now I just collect one more zero. So another way that I could think of that is I'm going to have one with 5 zeros. So that would be 100,000. So 10 to the 13th, holy moly, that's 1 with how many zeros? 13, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is a big old number. Okay, the last part of these notes that we need to fill in. Any number to the first power is itself. We kind of learned that over here with 12 to the first. It's just itself. So 5 to the first would equal 5. 7 to the first would equal 7. It would just stay the same. And powers of 10 will contain only ones and zeros. And how many zeros? Well, whatever the exponent was. 13 zeros in this case. 5 zeros in this case. Alright, so we've got our notes done here, and we are going to be ready to do some activities and practice tomorrow.